Sup YouTube, welcome back to another video documenting my journey to legend. In today's video, I'm bringing you an incredibly strong and flexible team in the Ultra Premier Cup, in my opinion. I went on an impressive 15-0 run with this team. I'm not exactly on leaderboards at all. I haven't even hit veteran, but this team did help me to climb just below veteran. I ran out of battles, so I couldn't keep going with the team. I really like it. I think it's incredibly flexible. Let's get into these battles and I'll walk you through the team as we go. So we are ABA weak to Ice. And also to Steel. Steel and Dragon types in the lead give this team a lot of problems. Ice types are sort of manageable. A/Slash pretty much washes this team, but I'll walk you through how I've played it and how I've seen success. So they go for a catch. I was gonna try to farm them down, and I accidentally threw the sludge bomb here because I'm a noob. So if you are like me, in terms of like you don't have that much skill as a battler, that's also one of the reasons I haven't uploaded. I feel like I don't have as impressive amount of luck as other YouTubers have or other battlers have, and as well I also just lack the skill that other people have. But I think I play pretty well, and I did manage to go on a really good run. I had to build up a new Dragonite. This is a Chibi Dragonite, aka him Smol, and we are rocking triple shadows. I built up this Feraligatr. I had to Elite TM it to Hydro Cannon, which I do recommend if you have these mons and want to use them. The reason for my absurd IVs is because Venu and Feraligatr with these IVs win a lot of breakpoints against a lot of Pokemon in the Ultra Premier. I built up the new Dragonite because it gets some bulk points that the other one that I had was sorely lacking. But again, these aren't the best IVs. I would recommend something else. But as you can see in that last video, or that last battle, Feraligatr was really, what really came in clutch. So we lead into an Obama Snow lead, one of the worst leads to see, and we're met with a Lantern on the safe swap. So incredibly algorithmed, as they say. My opponent does bait, which is kind of trash. And right there, you could have made the argument that I could have gotten a shield back, which I probably should have done. In hindsight, that's exactly what I would have done. Because they were in crunch range, but I wanted farm on Venu. So what I should have done if I was going to go with the previous plan was just stop shadow clawing him to allow Lantern to farm me down and get much more of a head start. So because of that, I have to bait. If they called my bait, I would have lost this game. Spoilers. And they're going to icy win me, I assume, which they do. And then I'm going to throw the sludge bomb almost immediately, but they catch on Mandibuzz, and this is great. My opponent had no reason to swap out. And because they did, they swap into an Air Slash Mandy, which probably gives them better play against fighters. But it helps Dragonite out, because now as long as I don't throw like a bozo, which I'm about to, watch. I'm going to throw on CMP like a freaking dumbass. Don't throw on alignment. If you learn anything from this video, don't throw on alignment. Lucky for me, they don't get the move off, and now I have to bait yet again. My opponent calls it. I'm shit out of luck. They don't call it. But I don't think they were quite at the move, or we would have CMP'd. I'm not quite sure, but we do manage to take that game by the skin of our teeth. So that's one of the more difficult leads you're going to see. If you do run into it, don't do what I did. Force a shield in that first matchup, and you should come out a lot better than I did. So we're not rocking Ice Beam. What do you do against Dragon types? You overfarm. Hydro Cannon hits like a bitch. So do I think you need Ice Beam? No. Because more often than not, they will shield. As you can see here, 2 Hydro Cannons are going to threaten a KO anyway. So they're going to be forced to shield. And now that they have, I'm pretty much going to go down before I get to a move. So I might as well let Feraligatr go down. And I'm going to bring in, I think, Dragonite or Venu. Because what I'm suspecting, yeah, I bring in Venu. What I'm suspecting is they have a fire type in the back that they're going to try to catch. And they do. And I managed to throw the Sludge Bomb onto the flyer. And I swap out because I noticed that it was Air Slash, which is kind of trash. But again, I can't really tell how small the Dragonite is. I would love to be on the other end looking at this triple XXS Smol Dragonite, and I think that they're just barely gonna survive, which might cost me this game. They do. Look at that. Look at Mandibuzz, incredibly thick, man. The amount of times this flying dingus has lived on a literal 1 HP in a dream is almost asinine. And then like a bozo, I throw on CMP. Shout out Mr. Fleek. And at this point, I just need to sack Venu because there's no other way I'm gonna win this game. They go for a Hydro for whatever freaking reason, and then they throw immediately. Had they allowed me to take out their Dragalge and farmed me down with Empoleon, I think they might have had a shot because I didn't have the superpower loaded. So I think my opponent just kind of like panicked in that endgame, which I do a lot, so I totally understand. Another incredibly trash lead. This one is almost worse than Shadow A-Slash. However, my opponent like dips immediately, which leads me to believe that this is that double dragon line that I've been seeing, Dragalge and Goodra. Goodra baits out whatever counter you can for the Sand Slash, which I'm assuming would have been the Poliwrath or whatever. Or just a dragon counter in general. I don't have Ice Beam, so I bait. I get the shield, and at this point, my win con that I suspect, I think I undercharge this a little. I do a little bit, because I want to farm it down with Venu. They're out of shields, so I need to come out with energy. They're going to make it to like a Power Whip or an Aqua Tail. I haven't run into a Goodra that has run Draco Meteor just yet, so if you think you are going to run into one, you know, respect it. They come back in with A-Slash, but I have all this energy, so I should be able to get it off before they're able to get energy off of me. And I think if I play this right, I should be able to survive these Dragon Tails from Goodra, and they don't force my shield, which I think they should have. If they force my shield, I might not make it to this move. At this point, I'm seeing that they're low enough that that I could probably take him out with Venusaur, and we managed to take that game. So whether you suspect that this was like skill or my opponent kind of bozoing their game is up to you. I think personally they might have made a mistake, but that said, when I saw the Goodra, I should have stayed in instead of swapping out into Feraligatr, which was an incredible mistake. I realized it afterwards, right? You know, I swap, you swap, we swap. So Feraligatr lead isn't that bad. You outpace to the Ice Beam, and you know, they could be like me where they're running Crunch and not Ice Beam, so I'm not really sure. I try to make a catch. They just incredibly overfarm, but they are down a shield now, and they come in with Lantern. If I get a debuff on this Crunch, I might be able to at least force a shield or farm them down. I think I elect to come in with Venu and farm them down, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We can tank a Surf or a Thunderbolt, and Feraligatr has a shit ton of energy, but they're also out of shields, or one shield, so I'll be able to outpace them if that's what they elect to do. They come in with Greedent. I think they got denied, I'm not really sure. And I'm just going to keep overfarming, and at this point, Dragonite with 2 shields up is my win con. So I try to go for a CMP, or a CAP. They don't fall for it, because, you know, a lot of players are really, really good. And they do get greedy. They get Greedent, and they elect to just trust in 2 shields for Alligator. At best, they make a Hydro Cannon, a 3rd Hydro Cannon, and my opponent realizes that, and so they top left. Up against Anthony Duraz. So, Dragonites, what the hell do you do? I come in with Gator, and I immediately go for the Hydro Cannon. I suspect that most Dragonites will try to catch the Ice Beam, because they're probably rocking a Poliwrath in the back. And there's a lot of... Yeah, there they go. So they build up energy. If they throw energy, you really aren't going... You'll get both shields back, but you're going to have to come in with Dragonite and burn a shield anyway. So at that point, I think you're better off just letting Gator go down if you get a shield. If you don't get a shield, then farm them down. Because like with the Hydro, they're probably in range to get farmed down. I was seeing an incredible amount of lag while playing these battles. I think I'm going to stay in to force them to dump energy if they come back in with Dragonite. Because I don't... Yeah, and they do. Perfect. They could have totally farmed me down. 100%. I probably wouldn't have made it to a Sludge Bomb. But I need them to be a little more energy dry. I am up 2 shields. They're going to go straight Hydro Cannon, which is fine. But at this point, I'm seeing that I can either force this shield, which I might. And then I'm still a little ahead of them. I think I undercharge a little bit just to get more farm before they get their move off. And they don't have a Dragon Claw loaded. I'm going to farm them all the way down, and I'm going to get my Dragon Claw off, and this game is GG's. I could go for Superpower, but on the off chance that that shit doesn't KO, that would have been hella embarrassing. So we elect to go for the Dragon Claw. Chibi Dragonite coming in strong. And as you can see, we're slowly climbing. We're now up to like 2300s from Bozo Elo. No offense if you're in the 2200s. I just, as a battler that knows himself, I know that I should be higher, and I'm not. So it's a little frustrating. If you guys are struggling in GBL, definitely let me know what like the highest you've gotten to and like what your problems are with like advancing, and hopefully we can help each other out. I try to go for CAPs or CMPs against Polyrats that come in, because this isn't the best matchup, but Hydro Cannon again hits like a freaking bitch. When they stay in with Dragalge, it makes me believe that they have something else in the back that they are like stronger against with Venu. But the Dragalge did play it really well. At this point, I'm gonna let this thing go and trust in Dragonite to win me this dance. They do full send the Outrage, which is incredibly impressive by them. I don't think they make a move. They don't, and they allow me to farm them down. And there's a Skeledirge in the back, which is really problematic at this point, because I don't know if I'm gonna survive enough Incinerates to get this move off. And you're gonna see where IVs matter. Like, they don't matter until the point at which they do. The reason I throw this move is just to see if they would let it go down, because I would have gotten to 2 moves anyway. We just barely managed to win that. If I had thrown an alignment there, they would have gotten a full Incinerate through, I would have lost that match. So like, those are the moments where you really need to be on point with your counting. I don't know why they elected to safe swap a Skeledirge in a rank 2 Feraligatr meta. That is with Ice Beam, but you don't really lose a lot of matchups with Crunch. I really like Crunch, because seldom have I been able to throw an Ice Beam at anything that wasn't shielded. So, you know, even that Dragalge didn't shield my Ice Beam, but we still managed to take both games. At this point, I'm like so tempted to just let this Feraligatr go down. But I'm like, you know what? I can get off a Hydro. So I'll have 1 shield for whatever, you know, is in the back. And I'm going to stay in, because Venu is my best Empoleon response, and I can tank a Drill Peck, which is exactly what I do here. Shadow Empoleon, I think, is the better matchup in this thing. I wait a turn there to make sure that I see the Metal Claw, the Steel Wing coming through, and I do. And then I'm going to come in with Venu, and they have a Swampert in the back, so that was a pretty damn good game. They actually swapped into their hard counter. I think they should have just stayed in with Empoleon. They would have CMP'd me on the Drill Peck. I would have been forced to make a decision. I probably wouldn't have shielded, and then they could have came in with Skeledirge. Just let the Empoleon go down. Again, another lead where we're met with a Lantern safe swap. Am I getting algorithmed or what? This is what I mean by I like this incredibly flexible team. Sadly, that Crunch wasn't able to KO, but we are going to be able to flip swatch. My opponent actually baits, which is absolutely insane. And I do manage to get this Hydro Cannon off at least before going down, which is super crucial because I'm going to need it for this right here. So we are rocking a 14-15-14 Venusaur for this exact reason, because there's a chance that you might win CMP. And now I can just let this thing go down. At worst, the Dragalge is going to hit me with an Aqua Tail, which will not KO, and I'm just going to farm this thing all the way down, which is my win con. Doesn't matter what they throw here. They're not going to get the 2 moves. They go for the Hydro Bait, and we basically have both moves. So one, they go for the Aqua Tail, which is even better, and I just need to make sure that they are like at least 1 away from the next one. I know I survived that Dragon Tail because Chibi Dragonite comes in strong. Incredibly bulky, this guy. And we have the next Dragon Claw, which I throw right away just in case I lost track of energy, which I am wont to do. I'm known for like just, I mean, I hate those matchups where like you're battling and you think you have a track of energy, and then you absolutely lose count of your opponent's moves. So I go for the move right away because I've run into so many Steelixes that just throw the move immediately. And now I'm going to let Venu go down, and I'm going to come in with Hydro. With Hydro, yes, with Hydro. With the Gator. Wait, what the hell am I doing? Oh, I guess I'm going to let it go down. Okay, so I played a previous matchup where I was letting, where I was safe swapping Hydro, which is, I keep calling it Hydro. I was safe swapping the Gator, and I kept getting like punished. So now what I do is I just let Venu go down. And because this is a really strong Dragonite response, there we go. There's the Gator. My defense has fallen, but they can't farm me down. Hydro Cannons I go for immediately because look at all the freaking damage they do. And I think that's one of the points with the breakpoint that you get as like an incredibly attack weighted Feraligatr is your Shadow Claws do slightly more damage, and your Hydro obviously does a little bit more damage. So I prefer that matchup. I don't get debuffed here, and my opponent has one way of throwing this game. At this point, I see the Golisopod. I might as well top left because I'm not going to outpace it, and one Dragon Claw doesn't do anywhere near damn enough to take out this thing. I could get X-Scissor-baited here, I'm not sure, but it is an Aerial Ace. 1, 2, and they try to catch. And because they try to catch, I'm able to outpace to 2 Dragon Claws, which are going to win me this game. Because as you can see there, a Dragon Claw wouldn't have got me that win. They do go, I think, for the 1 extra. We would have CMP'd right there. And I only won that game because my opponent through the game basically gave me the game. Overqwil, I have no idea what the hell to do against this. So I just stay in with Venu. I figure this thing is pretty glassy, and Frenzy is gonna hit a lot. It's gonna hit really, really hard. This thing also resists the Shadow Claws. The Poison Jabs do a lot of damage to not only Venu, but Dragonite. So at this point, I'm hoping they bait. They don't bait. And now I'm gonna come in with Dragonite. Hopefully 1 shield farm down if they make it to another Dark Pulse. But I realize in like this moment that they threw a little early. They would have made it. They 100% would have made the Dark Pulse. They were 1 off, but they settled, and I'm able to take that. Then they come in with Jellicent, and I'm like, okay, I know a Surf is going to KO me, but I still need to throw on proper timing because I don't want them to get energy through. They do. They throw the extra even though they had the Surf loaded, which would have taken me out. But you know, it's sometimes like you don't want to CMP with somebody, and I just stay in to force them to dump energy, and then I can come in with Feraligatr and hope that I have some play. They are at the Shadow Ball. I'm going to respect it. And we do correctly shield up a Shadow Ball. And then they come in with Annihilate. And I throw the Hydro Cannon right away, just in case there was like 1 turn bring in. And at this point, I'm like, okay, even if they bait me, I can totally outpace them to the next move. They throw an Ice Punch. They build up to 7, which wasn't a Shadow Ball. But I was like, on the off chance this Madman's running close combat, I'd rather, you know, shield that and not die, and we managed to take that game. So that was a really, really well played game on both ends. I had no idea what to do against the Overqwil. I go into my immediate heart response, and I'm met with an immediate heart response. I rarely bait, as Jamie Finn says. You know, don't bait unless you're trying to kill cats or whatever. But because I baited, and because my Dragonite is bulkier, I'm gonna make that superpower so they're forced to throw. And now, because I know that they're going to outpace my Venu, I'm going to bring in Gator and overfarm to the max. If they bait me, then, you know, that's kind of shit. But they don't. So now I can overfarm a boatload of energy, basically to 100 energy, and then go for a Hydro, which at this point will KO. Feraligatr is so damn strong in this meta. The reason I'm running ABA is because I was running Feraligatr in the lead at first. You know, I would be ABB Ice. But I wasn't seeing, like, I was lacking a lot of play with Feraligatr in the lead versus Feraligatr in the swap. So when I switched it to this way, there's not a lot of teams with, like, I mean, you've seen a bunch of Dragon leads, some like Alolan Sandslash, so, and a Walrein. But this team does have more play in my opinion, in this orientation. My opponent top lefts, I think, at this point. Just because I'm assuming a lot of people are expecting Feraligatr or water types in the lead. And so they're designing their team around the Gator in the lead. You know, like this would have been a trash matchup for Feraligatr. They bring in Dragonite, and I do 1 Vine Whip. Mostly because obviously you have to do, you throw 1 move. But I know that my Chibi Dragonite wins the Dragonite matchup. Look at that. Look at that beauty. Oh man, I love this little guy. So yeah, definitely build up a good Dragonite for the Ultra League. Don't settle for a really trash IV one because you're gonna need it. And that right there is exhibit A of why. Like I was able to invest a shield. At this point, I expect them to have an even harder response to Venusaur. So I'm not gonna shield it. And I'm going to bring in Gator right away. And there we go. I throw right away before I get the buff. And unless they like nothing here hits incredibly hard. So I'm gonna let this go through. It is a break and sweep. They don't get the debuff, and now I can throw on proper timing and get this move off. And I believe I was going to let this go, but I was like, you know what? Like, they're probably gonna Psychic Fangs me now. But I need to get this damage off onto this thing. And we managed to barely claw our way out of that scenario and get this Hydro off on the Poliwrath. They're nowhere near an icy win, so we managed to take that game. Another Venu lead. This was I was noticing a lot of Venusaur leads, and again, my same scenario. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna bait the superpower. Most of the times I just full send the superpower. I was trying something new. It ended up working because I'd rather them throw energy and CMP. I think they got a little overzealous and they weren't willing to invest 2 shields. So that's perfectly fine. They do come in with Gator, which is kind of trash. And at this point, 2 shielded Venusaur is going to be my win con. So I come in with Gator. Our switch timers aren't quite up just yet. And all I need to go is for Hydro Cannons. I do not... You win the zeros straight Hydro Cannon against Gator. Do not throw Crunch if you have it. They go for a catch. And my opponent is most likely going to bait me. But I need to respect. Because the Sludge Bomb does hit really hard. And we don't CMP there. I was trying to go for the CMP. I'd already lost track of their energy, so I wasn't sure. But I know from this health, I definitely survive a Sludge Bomb. So I'd much rather get this off because that Gator has a shit ton of energy. And yep, we survive. We should be able to farm down the Feraligatr because it is kind of low. And they throw right away. I don't have to respect this. I'd much rather come in with the Gator and claw down my frenemy. So we do manage to take that game. This is the last battle, I think. This battle is insane. Dragon lead. I'm ABA weak to this thing. I come in straight away with Feraligatr. They outpace me to a move, which is trash. I was gonna let this go. I decided not to, and that is the best thing. That is the best decision I have ever made. I'm gonna throw on proper timing. They come in. I almost threw the Hydro. They come in with Jellicent, and I think my opponent made a mistake here. They should not have shielded. Also, I don't think a Surf would have KO'd from there, so my opponent kept over farming, which is the correct play. And at this point, I think I'm just gonna let this go. I'm gonna come in with Venu, over farm to the max. If they didn't swap out, and they get a little greedy, they go for the Surf, and I managed to take another shield from them. So if they shield, which they don't, they come in with the Kama-O, and this is what I was suspecting. I'm gonna pause this right here. So in this moment, I was like, okay, they stayed in. They brought one thing weak to Venusaur. I don't think Venusaur has any more play on this team. I have a big suspicion that in the back is going to be a Skeledirge, and if I bring in my Dragonite, I'm just going to sacrifice him essentially and get cucked in the back. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. I've done enough damage to this Koma-O. I'm going to bring in Venu. So that's what I decided to do, and they stay in, and then they bring in the Dirge, and I was like, I fucking knew it. This isn't over because I will not outpace. So I have to throw on perfect timing. I'm 1 away or 2 Dragon Breaths away, so they can full send the move here, and they do. And this is gonna take me out. And then I play the best I've ever played. I do 2. I do 4 because that Incinerate will not register, and I should have just enough energy to get this Sludge Bomb off. Do we manage to still take this game? I think if my opponent goes for... I throw right away. I wasn't sure who won CMP. I think if my opponent goes for the Brick Break, I think maybe... Oh, actually, no, because they needed to go for the Dragon Claw. But we managed to clutch out that game. This is like the best games I've ever played in my entire career, which doesn't say much, but it says a lot for me. I really hope you give this team a try if you have it, if you have the Mons. Triple Shadows is a lofty investment, but you get what you pay for. If you do see a Sandslash, which wasn't covered a lot in this video, what you would typically do is they will expect the catch. So if they build up to 6, CMP with the Frenzy. Once you CMP, let the Ice Punch go and then come in with Gator. Because Alolan Sandslash at that point will be a lot more manageable for Dragonite. They'll probably bring in their Dragons, and you'll have a lot better play with Dragonite up a shield. But yeah, I hope you liked the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!